Please welcome Dr. Bipro.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. There are two main options here in North America if you want to actually continue your research for the rest of your life. So first option is you can be an assistant professor in university, or you can join as a research scientist in some industry, national or provincial organization. Like there is NRC, National Research Council. In Alberta, we have BUET Alberta. Industry or some provincial research organization, you kind of do more industry-oriented research or some contract research, and you don't need to teach. So and sometimes actually some people, they work for some provincial organization for a couple of years and then come back to school. Okay? So in my today's presentation, I'm going to mainly focus on how you can actually kind of, from your PhD graduate or postdoc, how you can get a position in university as a tenure track assistant professor. Okay. So my talk, I'm going to mainly focus on landing a tenure track faculty position in North America. So in today's talk, I'm going to mainly focus on three things. The hiring process. I think this is very important because if you know the hiring process, then you have better chance that you can actually prepare yourself very well for the position. And then I'm going to talk about application process and interview. So application process is one of the most important component if you want to get a faculty position in North America. And then I'm going to talk about preparing for academic jobs. So how you work over the years to actually prepare yourself for an academic job. Okay. So let's start with hiring process. So in most of the universities in North America, the hiring process actually starts in late summer. So for example, like if some universities, they want to hire someone from next fall, okay? So they're going to be posting. So this is a very good time for posting. So it starts from July and then until December. So you're going to see a lot of posting, okay? And then you can there are some specific website for faculty posting. So Academic Keys, University Affairs, this is a very good website for particularly for Canada. Okay, University Affairs is kind of like global. And if you are interested about some specific universities, then you can actually continuously check their website. Okay, some university they don't post on those kind of commercial portal. They just post on the faculty website, okay, or on the HR website. Then in Canada, they receive for each. It depends depending on the school. They receive like 100 to 300 application for each position. Okay, so if you see some job posting for faculty position, you're going to see 2 to 3 different areas. Okay, they want to hire someone. So in that case, you're going to see 100 to 300 application, but some job posting actually they kind of specifically mention a field. Okay, so for example, they want to only hire someone intelligent transportation system. Okay, then there is little chance that you are going to have less than 100 application. Okay, then to hire someone, there is a selection committee. Okay, then the next step is selection committee. They are going to review all the application package. Okay, they receive, and some university they kind of go for first screening. So they kind of out of 100 to 300 application, they pick only 5 to 15 or maximum 10. Okay, maximum 10 application. Then they kind of arrange some Skype or telephone interview, okay? And based on that, they invite only 2 to 3 people for campus interview, okay? Campus interview is it lasts for 1 to 2 days, and then finally they actually make a decision, okay? So this is kind of the overall process. Some universities, they don't go for Skype interview. They just after first screening, they invite 1 or 2 people for campus interview, okay? So now I'm going to talk about like how you can prepare a good application package or craft a good application package for a position. So most of the time this is quite typical. So for application package, you need to provide a CV. Okay, there is no kind of standard rule for those CVs. So they're a little bit flexible than resume. Okay, so resume you have limited number of pages, but for CV you can actually based on your profile. Okay, how much you want to add and what you want to highlight. And then because it's an academic position, most of the universities they ask for 3 key publications. So you have to provide your 3 significant work with your application package. Okay. And then you have to provide a research statement. So basically kind of show what's your plan, like if you join a faculty position. So how you're going to actually do your research and what's your vision. Then next important component is teaching statement. Okay. And some university, and it's same as industry, selection committee member is formed, maybe they pick 2 or 3 faculty members from the area that they want to hire, and then a departmental chair, it's kind of automatically a selection committee member. Okay. And everyone is busy. Maybe some of you here, you are a student, a current student, and you know that your supervisor, departmental chair, they're always busy, right? So it's like industry. For each application, they're gonna spend maximum 1 minute. Okay. So most of the time, after they look at your CV, cover letter, and key publication, they get it within 1 minute. Okay. So, and then based on your CV, key publication, and cover letter, if they're happy, they're going to actually review your research statement and teaching statement. Okay. And then if they're happy with your application package, and if they kind of, if you are in the shortlist, then they're going to ask for recommendation from your referee. And then they're going to, if you get a campus interview, then you have to provide a seminar abstract and short bio. And then your transcript. But transcript, most of the university, they don't ask for transcript. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about CV because I think CV is kind of, there is no standard method. You are going to actually compile your achievement in the CV. You're going to talk about some of your experience, right? Your awards, your kind of compile all your publication in the CV. So I think if you Google, you're going to get a lot of CVs, right, for some academic faculty members. So I think you can easily do that. So I'm going to actually start with cover letter. So cover letter maximum you can go for 1 to 2 pages. Okay. So 1 to 2 pages, and cover letter actually it's a very important component. Okay. Sometimes we kind of spend too much time on preparing research and teaching statement, and kind of overlook the importance of cover letter, but cover letter is one of the most important part of your application process. Okay. So what you need to include in the cover letter, first of all, you have to show that you are actually very excited about the position, okay, and you have a passion to be a faculty member. Okay. So this is first and most important. Second, you have to summarize. So the second paragraph, you have to summarize your scientific achievement and productivity. Okay. So scientific achievement, you can just kind of 2 to 3 sentences. You can kind of summarize what is your research. Okay. And you can kind of add something like how many publications that you have and in which journal. And nowadays actually people look into your impact factor or impact of your research, right? So you can actually talk about how many citations you have, what is your H index, and all those things. Okay. So this is going to be in your scientific achievement and productivity. Okay. And then the third portion of your cover letter is you want to show the vision and impact of your research and teaching program. Okay. So you want to tell them what kind of research you are going to do in next 5 to 10 years, okay, and how you are going to make a difference, okay. So let's say and it has to be a little bit different from your PhD topic or your postdoctoral work, whatever you are doing. You have to make sure that it's a little bit different, okay. So for example, like you are working with I have my student here, he's working on anaerobic digestion. So if he's applying for a position, so he can tell, okay, I want to develop a next generation of the technology. Okay, so that could be how you share your vision and impact of your future research. Okay. So then the final one and the most tricky part is how do you see yourself fitting in the department? So what you're going to add in the department or how you're going to fit there, okay? So sometimes you may have very good number of publication, your research is good, but if you are not a good fit, then you're not going to get a position. So this is the most important part. So for that part, actually you have to do some research. You have to see what other faculty members are doing in the department. Okay, and then you you share your vision for your research program, but at the same time you can tell, okay, my research is complementary to some other research areas that people are doing in your department. Okay, so then actually it's going to be a very good cover letter, and so this is very important. Okay, so you have to cover all those 4 sections in your cover letter. But don't go beyond 2 pages because people don't have too much time to actually, read 3 or 4 pages cover letter. Okay. So research statement, it's 1 to 2 pages, but some university they mention in their job posting that it's going to be maximum 1 page. Okay. So you have to actually craft your research statement based on the posting. So again, you demonstrate scientific, your achievement and productivity. So you summarize what you did during your grad school and postdoctoral fellowship, and then you clearly define your vision and impact. So vision, what do you mean by vision? Okay, so vision actually you have to talk about your short-term and long-term goal. Okay, so what could be the short-term goal? You're going to actually work in some research area, right? Publish paper, build your research lab, right? So this is short term. But what could be long term?
Develop a center or something?
Yes, develop a center. So you can tell, okay, you know what? I want to actually build a center or research center or research institute, okay? So you have to actually do some research on university website whether they already have some center, okay? Then you have to actually come up with some different idea, okay? So you have to show that actually you have a very long-term vision, okay? And then final section gonna be potential collaborator, okay? Potential collaborator or research support. So this is another tricky part. So for example, you are here in Alberta and you are applying for a position in Texas, and you don't know about their funding, structure or funding agency or some research agency there, right? So you have to do a little bit research on that. Maybe you can find some people over there, okay? Maybe some grad student or someone working in industry, okay? And then get some more information about the funding, okay? So you have to cover 3 things. One is your achievements so far, what you have. Then define your plan, like what you're going to be doing in next 5 years or 10 years, and then talk about your potential funding source. And here in third portion, actually you can add something. Let's say during your postdoctoral fellowship or in your grad school, you are involved in some proposal development for funding. So you can actually mention that, okay, I already have some experience with writing proposal, okay, and I think that's going to be helpful in my career, okay. So here you mentioned that you already gained some experience, but at the same time, make sure that you are really involved in proposal development, because if you're involved, then most probably your supervisor, he can mention in the reference letter, okay, Mr. A was involved in some proposal development, okay. So teaching statement, and I found teaching statement most of the time actually I kind of frequently hear this comment, okay, this guy has 10 or 15 papers but he is not getting any faculty position. Why is that, right? So one of the most important part missing is teaching, okay? Sometimes we overlook the importance of teaching because at university this is actually one of our most important part of our job is to train people, right? We want to train and supervise. So undergraduate teaching is one of the most important components of our job, okay? So if you kind of, if you cannot, if you kind of show that, you are not interested about teaching, then it would be very difficult to find a job, okay? So in teaching statement, you should have teaching philosophy and vision. So what you can have in teaching philosophy and vision, like maybe you're from Bangladesh, most of the time we use kind of some board, professor, they bring some notes and they just write everything down on the board and then you take note, right? But here, teaching is kind of much more interactive, okay? You have to have a lot of activities, okay, in the class. So for example, in some of my class, so when I first taught one undergrad course at University of Waterloo, when actually I was in my 4th year of my PhD, so I first introduced one software. So how to simulate actually wastewater treatment plant, okay? So that's how you can actually mention, like, you should know better than me, like, what kind of course that you want to teach. But you can mention, okay, how you're gonna improve that course. You can tell that, okay, you know what, I believe that engineering is not just, kind of solving some problem in the class or, having exam. I want to make students feel that or think like an engineer. So I want to make them actually kind of, I want to develop their critical thinking skill like an engineer. So this is my vision, okay? So that's kind of one example. You can come up with some better idea. Then teaching experience and development. So here you talk about how over the years you actually develop your teaching skill, okay? So maybe when you are in grad school, you may not have enough opportunity to actually teach, but still you can actually highlight like what you did during your TA, what you have learned from your TA. What was your actually kind of TA evaluation, whether you get any TA award, okay? So those components are really actually kind of helpful here, okay? Then the next part is teaching interest. So here you kind of list all the courses that you want to teach, okay? So I would suggest you go to the university website, see their course curriculum, what kind of courses they are offering, right? And then you pick 3 to 5, okay? Don't pick 10 or 15, okay? Because you cannot teach everything, right? So maximum 3 to 5, okay? But not less than 3, because typical teaching load in Canada, in Canada, most of the universities is 3 courses. So if you say, okay, I can teach only 2 courses, then actually you are not suitable for this position, right? So please list at least 3 to 5 courses, okay? And then you have to also propose, okay, after I join the position, actually I'm going to develop some new courses, okay? Then you have to have a vision, okay? Then you can tell, okay, this is an emerging area, and I think I can develop a grad course to actually provide some advanced fundamentals, okay? So you have to have that in the teaching proposal, okay? And you can actually highlight, like if you have some opportunity to actually teach some course as an instructor, I would recommend, kind of you include your evaluation. And obviously, if your evaluation is good, then you should include it. Okay. So the campus interview. Campus interview, it lasts for 1 to 2 days, depending on the school. And some of the stuff that you are going to be doing during the interview is a research talk. Basically, you kind of share your research. Do I have time?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because if this is the problem with professors. So when they start, they kind of keep going. So you have a research talk and then a sample class. Okay, so basically you are going to do a research seminar and teaching seminar. Okay, so research seminar is kind of typically it's 40 minutes. Okay, and then followed by some question and answer session. And sample class it's around half an hour. And most of the schools, they invite some undergrad student to evaluate, okay? And this is very important here in Canada because, student evaluation is very important, okay? So they want to make sure that actually student like your teaching style, okay? And then there are going to be a lot of one-to-one meeting and meals with selected individual. It's going to include your faculty members, specifically in your area. So for example, if you're applying for a position in environmental engineering, you're going to be meeting all the faculty members in environmental engineering, okay? And then you're going to meet chair. Typically, actually, all interview process starts with meeting chair, okay? So first of all, you're going to meet the chair. He's going to explain how the overall interview process is going to work. And then he's going to share the vision of the department and, some funding, what is the total number of faculty members, what are the facilities they have, okay? They're going to share that idea. And dean is kind of more high level, okay? So in big universities, actually, dean is not directly involved in the recruiting process, okay? Because they don't know what's going on in the department. But in small universities, maybe dean is kind of more involved in the recruitment process, okay? But one thing is very important, actually, I think one of our speakers mentioned that, everything counts. Like the people that you are meeting, maybe you are just going to be talking like on some topic, right? Okay? Yeah, during my interview, even I talked about soccer with someone for 10 or 15 minutes, okay? But end of the day, everyone gonna give their feedback on it, okay? So this is very important. So in every meeting, you have to be very strategic. You have to actually, they are gonna actually ask you some question, but you have to actually prepare at least 2 to 3 questions for each meeting, okay? And those questions should be strategic as well. Because at the end of the day, they are going to actually take feedback from everyone, okay? So for like, I'm an assistant professor. So last year, they were planning to recruit someone. Even actually, I provided my feedback. Maybe it's not going to be that influential, but still they are going to ask for feedback from everyone involved in the process, okay? So you have to actually take them seriously, and then formal interview with the selection committee is going to be around 2 hours, okay? And this is one of the most important part where actually they're gonna kind of, it's gonna be like your defense, okay? It's gonna be like your defense. So they're gonna actually ask a lot of technical questions, okay? At some point they can actually criticize your research, okay? But only thing you have to remember that you are not a salesman, you are an academic researcher, okay? So be bold, okay? And keep your confidence and try to answer, and if they criticize, just appreciate that criticism, okay? And some university, like if you are looking for some, if your research is kind of more experimental, then they also organize some facility visit, okay? Then the final part of my talk is preparing for an academic job. Okay. So that means for each position there are 100 to 300 applications, right? And they are going to actually invite only 1 to 2 people for the interview. So you have to be, your application package should be 1 out of 100. So it should be one of the best, right? Otherwise, you are not going to get interview. Okay? So you have to put a significant amount of effort to actually differentiate your application package and your vision from other candidates. Okay? So I would suggest you spend a significant amount of time to actually prepare your kind of the application package. So first application package, it takes 3 months, 3 to 4 months, actually, until you are satisfied with your application package. And then for each position, maybe you spend 1 day, because you have to make sure that your research kind of fit, okay? And some posting you're gonna see it's not kind of, it doesn't fit very well within your area, then you have to tweak a little bit, right? And then make sure that, you can sell your proposal or package, right? So now the question is how to prepare for an academic position, okay? If you Google, you're gonna get tons of questions, okay? Tons of questions like, how to prepare your application package, how to prepare for the interview, right? So I'm not gonna get into this, but something that I wanna share. So application process, what you need good quality and good amount of publication, okay? First of all, you need publication. This is the first thing that you cannot actually negotiate. And what kind of leadership? Maybe you are involved with some kind of Bangladeshi student association, some other community work. But at the same time, you should be involved in with some professional organization. Okay. So, for example, my work was somehow related to water and wastewater and organic waste. So I was involved with some Water Environmental Association of Ontario and CAW2, Canadian Association of Water Quality. So when I was a student, okay. So even I'm still involved with them. I'm actually organizing one conference next year with them. So your leadership is very important, and why is that? So faculty position is research, teaching, and some administrative job at the same time. So they want to make sure that you have enough experience in leadership and you can kind of help the department with some administrative stuff as well, okay? Awards, they are like cherry on the cake, okay? So award, it's not mandatory, but if you have some awards, like best paper award, best presentation award, it kind of show that actually, or reflect that your quality is good, okay? Or your teaching experience, most of the time, actually, most of the candidate, I would say 95% of the candidate, they are missing with teaching experience, okay? But I would say if you really want to be a faculty member, then share with your supervisor that if there is any opportunities to actually teach, okay, then actually they can let you teach, okay? So then it's going to include a value, because faculty position typically it's 40% research, 40% teaching, and 20% administration, okay? So most of the time, so 40% it's a very significant portion of your work, right? So if you can show that actually, including research, you have some experience with teaching, then it's going to be a big plus for your application, okay? So with this, you're going to get the interview. But now the question is what you need. So if you get an interview, that means they're interested. So the selection committee is interested about you, right? So they have interest in you. So now the question is what they're going to see, how they're going to evaluate, okay, during the interview process. So the most important part in faculty position is they want to make sure that actually you are really serious about that position or excited about that position. You're not going to beg for the position. You want to show that actually I'm really passionate and I want to be a faculty member. And at the same time, they want to make sure that you are independent enough, okay? The most important part. Because the day that you start your job, you are on your own, okay? It's going to be like a startup business, okay? Maybe it's with less risk because you have a startup grant to start, but it's going to be like a startup business. You have to hire students, you have to build your lab, you have to write proposal, you have to bring money, you have to teach, you have to supervise students, right? So they want to make sure that you are independent enough to be a successful faculty member, okay? And this is kind of like the application process that you prepare. But actually getting a professorship, it's a very long process, and it's kind of it's a long-term commitment that you have to put. Okay, so how you can prepare? So it's like a long list. I'm gonna go one by one, very briefly. So basically, if you have a dream to be a faculty member, I would recommend you start from your masters, okay, and be focused and make your short-term and long-term goal, okay. So first thing, you should actually discuss your thesis supervisor, okay. So let your supervisor know that actually you are specifically interested about faculty career in academia, okay, or you want to be a faculty member. Somehow maybe they're not going to help that much, but at least it's good to know, okay. So they can actually supervise or mentor you in a way that actually you can be successful, okay. Find a mentor, like if you have a senior student in your research group, okay, and he or she is also looking for faculty position, then actually you can you guys can work together, okay, and then and at some point maybe actually he can give you some advice. Combine both fundamental and applied aspect in your research. So in university, as I mentioned, that one of the major difference between actually industrial R&D and university, we kind of do more academic research. So you have to make sure that although you are doing some, maybe your professor get funding from some industry and you are kind of particularly focusing on that industry funded project, but try to include some fundamental aspect in your project, okay? So when they see actually, if you can do fundamental work, so they kind of have that confidence that you can do some applied work as well. So focus on publication, so key publication. So 3 key publication. You can prepare your application package within 3 months, but 3 key publication is a long-term process, right? So you have to have a strategy how you are going to create 3 key publication, okay? But at the same time, quantity is important too. So actually in Canada and all over the world, maybe in your selection committee, he or she is not specifically expert in your area, right? So they're going to actually look at the number and impact factor. So these 2 are, maybe it's not fair, but it is the most important thing. You need high impact and you need good number of publication, okay? And mentor, train, and collaborate. So try to mentor, okay, so I'm going to finish it in 3 minutes, okay? So mentor, train, and collaborate. So if you have an opportunity to mentor some, let's say when you are a master's or PhD student, if you have an opportunity to actually mentor some student, undergrad student, please do that, okay? How it's going to help? Actually, every small thing counts. So for example, during your interview, they ask, okay, how you are going to supervise your student, okay? Then, okay, you are going to actually, if you Google, you are going to find some answer, right? But then, with your answer, you can add some experience. So when I was a PhD student, I mentored a group for Water Environment Association student design competition, and they got the 3rd prize. So I kind of actually mentioned how I'm going to supervise. I share my vision, and then I give an example, okay? So it's kind of, you make your answer more stronger, and then develop your writing skill. We talked about leadership. Develop your writing skills. So after you join the faculty position, actually most of the time you're going to be writing. You're going to be writing proposal, writing a paper. So you have to love writing. So try to develop your writing skill. Apply for scholarships. Stay on track, but make sure that you kind of finish on time. And try to actually kind of get some teaching experience. Unofficially go supervise some grad student when you are a postdoc. Okay. Contribute in proposal and grant application. Again, you can actually include that in the research proposal. And explore online resources and academic job and attend workshop like today's workshop. And the most important part, I think, start from your MSc program. If you are, I'm not going to tell you whether it's the best job. Maybe, you know, for me it's the best job. Maybe for someone else, it's industry job is the best job. So everyone, you know, have a different dream, right? So start from your masters if you want to be a faculty member, and stay focused. It's the most important part. Okay. And you always need some good luck. Maybe, you know, you're on the market, but there is no opening. So, but you have to try your best, and you have to be ready if is there any opportunities. Okay. So I hope you found some useful information. And yeah, thank you for listening. And you know, if you have any, you know, after that today's workshop or career talk, if you need any help, like regarding, you know, finding a position, or you have some question, please feel free to contact me. If I have time, I'll be happy to mentor.